Hi, I'm Jason Boudreau. Today I'd like to teach you about the Synoptic Gospels, the life and teaching of Jesus Christ. Nearly everything we know about the life and ministry of Jesus comes from the four gospel books: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The Bible's New Testament, which includes these four gospels, was originally written entirely in Greek, which is the common language of the Mediterranean lands in the Roman times. Simply defined, the Synoptic Gospels are the first three books of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The Gospels are an accumulation of the Synoptic Gospels plus the book of John. They describe the good news of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, which are the foundation of Christ's message for salvation. The Apostle Matthew was one of the 12 disciples appointed by Jesus. He wrote the Gospel of Matthew. John Mark wrote the Gospel of Mark. He was one of the close associates of the Apostle Peter. Luke, he was a physician. He was a friend of the Apostle Paul. Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke. The word synoptic means together sight. The Synoptic Gospels are called such because the authors saw together in a common view. These books cover many of the same events in Jesus' life in almost the same exact order. Just about 90% of the content in Mark is also found in Matthew, and about half of Mark also appears in Luke. The Synoptic Gospels encompasses all of Jesus' parables, and the book of John, a gospel but not synoptic, does not contain any of Jesus' parables. Although there are abundant similarities in these books, but there are also quite a few differences. Mark is the shortest book of the three by a considerable amount. Further, all three books were written for different audiences. Matthew, he wrote to a Jewish audience. Mark, he wrote to a Roman audience. And Luke wrote to a Gentile audience. Matthew took a unique approach to his writing by frequently quoting the Old Testament. He is also the only author to extensively use the phrase, "the kingdom of heaven," which is not found anywhere else in Scripture. Luke was drawn to Jesus' compassion and was faithful to record Jesus' acts of kindness towards Samaritans and the Gentiles. Biblical scholarship often has a difficult defining the similarities and differences with the Synoptic Gospels and have dubbed this difficulty as the synoptic problem. I'm going to say that again because this is very important. Biblical scholarship often has a difficulty defining the similarities and differences within the Synoptic Gospels and dub this difficulty the synoptic problem. Overall, scholars can agree that God inspired all three authors to detail the life of Jesus Christ and relay the meaning of his life to three different audiences. The most commonly accepted solution among the scholars for solving the synoptic problem is called the two-source theory. The two-source theory urges that Mark was the first written gospel and that Matthew and Luke used Mark as one of their written sources. Among the four gospels, John stands out. The Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, share many of the same stories and teachings. But many of the stories and teachings are unique to John's gospel. For instance, only John tells us that Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, changed water into wine, or told Nicodemus about God's love for the world. In closing, I believe that Christians understand the importance of the Gospels. After all, Gospels does mean good news. And who doesn't like to hear good news? Thank you very much and have a blessed afternoon.